So I took all this information and I said, there's plastic, and I'm going to try to cut plastic down, and we'll get to that in a bit. What's the biggest thing that uses oil in my life? And I looked at it, my unfortunately at the time, Toyota truck with monster tires in my sports car, because I used to really love them. And I cried for a while, and I said, I can't do that anymore. And I had been reading, and I found out that you can convert a diesel to run on vegetable oil. Now, diesels were invented, the diesel engine was invented in 1900 to run on peanut oil. 1900, this is not new stuff. That was 108 years ago. And Diesel said, hey, peanut oil, why? Because he was a socialist and kind of a cool cat. And he didn't really like the idea that people had to buy oil from companies. He said, you know, let them grow it. Let them put it in their cars. By the way, he wasn't the only one. Henry Ford, Model Ts, all that stuff, back at the same time, I don't know if he and Diesel were talking or not, but he wanted to run all of his cars on ethanol. Now, I'm not a big proponent of ethanol, and I'll get to that. I'll mention that in a bit. But I mean, this is old stuff. This isn't new stuff. And then what happened, unfortunately, was Diesel was basically thrown off the side of a boat, but nobody can completely prove that. And he disappeared. And the oil conglomerates came in and took this byproduct of making gasoline that they were throwing out anyway and said, this is like peanut oil. Let's call it diesel and sell it cheaply. And they did, and everybody started using petroleum. Wah, 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 wah. Okay, so now people are starting to... That was pretty good, wasn't it? So people are starting to get back into this, and there are thousands, tens of thousands of people, wow, all over the country, hopefully that's on my heart, who are getting this. Diesel engines, and I'm not pushing diesels, I'm going to tell you why in a second, but this is what I did, and it's sort of to show you there's stuff out there you can do. You don't have to sit back and say, someone else will fix it. Give you a general idea, you can run your car on vegetable oil two ways. First is waste vegetable oil, the one that I think is kind of sexy, and what I do with my car. It's left over from restaurant fryers. This is the stuff your French fries were fried in, okay? Now, you don't want to use it and then fry your French fries in it. You want to fry your French fries in it and then use it. But restaurants have to give it away or get rid of it, and they pay a company to take it away. So I have several restaurants, who I can't name, who I go to, and I say, hey, can I have your oil? And they go, hey, it's the crazy guy. Give him your oil. And then I take it, and I filter it, and I put it in my car. It's a waste product, so the great thing about it is it's garbage, which, as everybody knows, I like to keep in the basement, but in this case, I put in the back of my car. It's a waste product, no energy. I love that. It requires modification to your car, which I did rather messily the first time and a little better the second time. But I'm not a mechanic, and I messed up a lot, but I got it done. It's not a huge deal, and there's information all over the web and on the links that you can check if you want to check that. It requires filtration. So in other words, you got to do a little work. It's essentially free. In my case, it is free. It can ruin your engine if not careful. We won't talk about that. We'll just move on. No. Basically what you have is you have a secondary tank, I'm going to show you in a second, where you put your waste vegetable oil. You have your, I call it your startup tank, which is your regular, put in your gas and buy your gum tank or whatever, okay? So you start up on your startup tank, and you wait about 5 minutes till a little temp gauge inside tells you that that oil is nice and thin, and then you flick a switch. The reason I'm telling you that, and at the end, when you're done with your trip and you're going to be stopping for 3-4 hours, whatever, you flick it back and you sort of flush out the system. The reason I'm telling you can ruin an engine if not careful, which a lot of people who talk about this will not tell you, is I think it's only honest to tell you this. Because there are papers out there who say waste vegetable oil will kill your engine. There are people out there who say, I've seen it happen 10 million times. And then there are friends like mine who have 200,000 miles on waste vegetable oil, and I sort of go, okay, you kind of can't argue with that. So most of the reason it will ruin your engine is because you actually have to be very vigilant about it. It's not the same as getting in your car driving and never thinking about anything. There's a little bit of work involved in this. I personally think the payoff right now is worth it. The other way, which is what my wife does, is you can run your car on biodiesel. Biodiesel is vegetable oil that had the glycerin removed, the stuff that makes it thick. It's a natural substance in it. Through a process called transesterification, which I don't know what that means, but that's what the process is called. It can run in any non-modified diesel engine. You got a diesel, put in biodiesel, go, you're running on vegetable oil. It actually cleans the engine. It has low price volatility compared to oil because you're talking about a crop. You're not talking about some place that's under the ground and how do we get it and wars and you name it. It is an ASTM certified fuel, just like gasoline and diesel. So the station that my wife gets it from, if it ruined her engine, she could go back to them. I mean, she would have to prove it like anything else, but they're liable. So it actually has certain specific, it's a fuel that they sell. The problem is there's energy used to create it. And right now, unfortunately, and you've probably read about it, because there's a thirst for it, they are clearing huge swaths of the rainforest in order to grow soybeans to make cheap biodiesel to give to people. So like most things that are kind of cool, we've taken it, turned it on its ear, tried to make more money out of it, and are creating a problem because of it. So there's a plus and a minus. One of the great things about biodiesel that's coming is there's a way to make it from algae tanks that are under the ground. There's a way to make it from Jatafra, which is, I think, sort of it's like a weedy thing. I don't know too much about it. But there are other possibilities. Of course, we're taking the cheap and easy way because we want to make money, but that's not the way to do it. To give you an idea, by the way, about my car, like I said, I put waste vegetable oil in the back tank. You'll see a picture of it in a second. And I fill up the main tank with biodiesel. That's the start and stop fuel. I would say in an average year, I fill up the main tank, which I pay for, 3 times. So I fill up my car and pay for it 3 times a year. Okay? So it's very, very inexpensive. And also I know that, generally speaking, I'm not using anything that used energy to run my car.